Listen to me carefully. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not less than anyone else. What you are is tired. Deep down to your bones, tired. And if you've been carrying this quiet exhaustion for so long that you've started to believe it means you're broken, then I need you to hear this truth in the first 10 seconds. You are not broken. You are simply exhausted inside. Think about how your days begin. The alarm goes off, and even before your feet hit the floor, a wave of heaviness greets you. Not the physical kind that a good night's sleep could erase, but the invisible weight pressing down on your chest, the kind that makes you sigh before the day even starts. You know what I'm talking about. That quiet dread, that subtle ache, that thought that whispers, "Not again, not today." And yet you push yourself up because life doesn't wait. Bills don't wait. Responsibilities don't wait. And so you perform. You smile when you don't feel like smiling. You laugh when your heart is heavy. You nod when inside you want to scream. Out there in the world, people may see you as strong, reliable, put together. But the truth? Inside, you're running on fumes. Inside, you're fighting battles nobody knows about. Inside, you are tired in a way that sleep cannot cure. That kind of exhaustion doesn't show up overnight. It builds, layer by layer, moment by moment. It's the endless cycle of giving more than you receive, of pretending you're fine when you're not, of being there for everyone else while quietly neglecting yourself. It's the silence you keep because you don't want to burden others, the smile you wear because you think no one would understand the storm inside you. And so, over time, you start to believe that maybe something is wrong with you, that maybe you're just broken. But let me stop you right there. You are not broken. You are human. And what you feel right now is the cost of carrying too much for too long. It's not a flaw in your design. It's a sign of how deeply you've been trying to survive in a world that never slows down. The exhaustion you feel is not weakness. It's the body and soul crying out for rest, for peace, for release. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You wake up already tired. You walk through the day in a fog, moving but not truly alive. You lie down at night, but your mind won't stop racing, replaying conversations, predicting disasters, creating problems that may never exist. You want rest, but your mind refuses to let you go. And in those quiet hours, when the world is finally still, that's when the thoughts creep in. That's when you feel the most alone. That's when the exhaustion cuts the deepest, because it's not just about your body being tired, it's about your soul being drained. This is where most people misunderstand themselves. They look at their exhaustion and think it means they're broken. They think, why can't I handle life the way everyone else does? Why do I feel like I'm falling apart while others keep moving forward? They compare, they judge themselves for being human. But you must understand this. What you're experiencing is not a personal failure. It's a human condition in a relentless world. There's a reason your soul feels heavy. There's a reason you feel drained even when you've done everything right. It's because you've been carrying weight that wasn't meant to be carried forever. The expectations of others, the silent responsibilities, the unspoken pressure to be strong, to be okay, to keep going no matter what. But here's the truth. Nobody was built to run forever without rest. Nobody was built to carry pain endlessly without laying it down. Nobody was built to smile forever while their heart cries in silence. And yet, you've been trying, haven't you? You've been forcing yourself to keep moving, to keep pretending, to keep holding it all together. And maybe you've gotten good at it. So good that others don't even notice how much you're hurting. They see the surface, the job, the family, the smile, but they don't see the nights you lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wishing your mind would just let you breathe. They don't see the way you sit in silence, feeling like a ghost in your own life. They don't see the invisible fatigue, the emotional bruises, the quiet tears that never fall because you've learned to swallow them back. This is the exhaustion that eats at your soul, and it convinces you of a lie. It whispers, you're broken, you're weak, You'll never be whole. But that voice is not the truth. That voice is exhaustion talking. That voice is the echo of years of pressure, years of pretending, years of giving without receiving. You are not broken. You are tired. And there is a world of difference. Because when something is broken, it needs fixing. But when something is tired, it needs rest. Do you see? You don't need to be fixed. You need to be given permission to pause, to breathe, to put down what you've been carrying. And I know that's hard. I know the world has trained you to believe that rest is laziness, that slowing down is weakness, that if you stop, everything will fall apart. But maybe that's the very lie that's been keeping you exhausted all along. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you allowed yourself to truly rest? Not just sleep, but rest. The kind of rest where you give your soul permission to stop fighting, to stop pretending, to carrying it all alone. When was the last time you sat with yourself and said, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to pause. It's okay to let go. If you can't remember, then it's no wonder you feel the way you do. But here's the good news. Exhaustion is not permanent. It can be lifted. It can be healed. It can be transformed. And in the next part, I'm going to show you exactly why you've been carrying this invisible weight for so long and what it means for your life moving forward. But for now, just hold on to this one truth. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not less than. You are simply exhausted inside. And that is something we can begin to change together.
The weight you feel every day did not come from nowhere. Exhaustion does not simply appear out of thin air. It's built, little by little, from the constant demands of life, from the silent expectations, from the endless pressure to be enough. And the truth is, most of that weight doesn't even belong to you. Somewhere along the way, you picked up responsibilities that weren't yours, burdens that you thought you had to carry, roles you thought you had to play. And because you carried them for so long, you began to confuse them with who you are. Think back. Think of how many times you said yes when your heart was screaming no. How many times you showed up for others when you were barely holding yourself together. How many times you forced a smile to convince the world that you were fine, even when your chest felt heavy and your mind was begging for a break. Every one of those moments added another stone to the invisible backpack you carry. And now it feels like you can hardly move, but you've grown so used to the weight that you've started to think it's just a part of you. But it's not. This is the secret nobody tells you. Exhaustion is not always about what you do. It's about what you hold. And right now, you are holding too much. You are holding the voices that told you you're not enough. You are holding the fear of disappointing others. You are holding the guilt of saying no. You are holding the shame of not being perfect. You are holding years of unspoken pain, years of swallowing your feelings so you wouldn't upset the people around you. And when you hold all that inside, how could you not be exhausted? This is why you feel broken, though you're not. Because when you keep carrying what is not yours to carry, it will eventually break your strength, your energy, your spirit. Not because you are weak, but because you are human. No human being was designed to be a container for endless pain. No human being was designed to pretend forever. And yet here you are doing exactly that, holding, pretending, pushing, surviving. And now your body and your soul are screaming at you in the only language they know, exhaustion. It shows up in ways you don't always recognize. That brain fog that makes you forget simple things. That sudden wave of irritation over nothing. That tightness in your chest when you think about tomorrow. That numbness when something good happens, but you can't even enjoy it because your soul feels empty. These are not signs that you're broken. These are signals. Your body and your mind are speaking to you, trying to tell you we cannot keep carrying this much. But here's the danger. If you don't listen to those signals, they get louder. That quiet tiredness becomes overwhelming fatigue. That little irritation grows into anger. That numbness deepens into despair. And before you know it, you start to believe the lie that you are broken beyond repair. But remember what I told you before. You are not broken. You are simply exhausted. And exhaustion, unlike brokenness, has a cure. Let's pause here. I want you to imagine something. Picture yourself carrying a backpack filled with stones. Every stone represents a burden you've taken on. The expectations, the fears, the responsibilities, the secrets, the unspoken pain. You've been carrying it for so long that it feels normal. But what if you set it down? What if you took out one stone at a time and realized you don't need to carry all of it anymore? How would it feel to walk lighter, to breathe deeper, to finally move without that crushing weight? That image is not just fantasy. It is the truth of what's possible when you understand where your exhaustion comes from. But to get there, you have to face a truth you've been avoiding. The exhaustion you feel is not just about being busy. It's about being disconnected. Disconnected from your own needs, your own voice, your own heart. Somewhere along the way, you learn to silence yourself for the sake of others. You learn to prioritize being needed over being nourished. You learn to measure your worth by what you give, not by who you are. And that is why you are so tired, because living a life that ignores your soul will always drain you. Think about it. How many times have you pushed down your feelings because you thought they were inconvenient? How many times have you said, "I'm fine," when you weren't? How many times have you convinced yourself you don't need help, you just need to be stronger? All of that pretending, all of that suppressing takes energy. And energy, when it runs out, leaves you exactly where you are now, empty, numb, exhausted. So let's call it what it is. You are not broken. You are carrying too much. You are pretending too much. You are silencing too much. And that is why you feel so tired. Not because you are weak, but because you are human. And humans are not meant to live this way. Do you see it now? The exhaustion you feel is not evidence of your failure. It's evidence of your humanity. It's proof that your body and your soul are longing for something different. It's proof that you need to listen, to pause, to heal. Because exhaustion is not a permanent identity. It's a signal. A red light flashing on the dashboard of your soul, warning you that something must change. And maybe deep down you've known this all along. Maybe you've felt the quiet voice inside whispering, "I can't keep going like this." Maybe you've tried to push it away, to ignore it, to drown it out with work, with distractions, with noise. But here's the truth you can't escape. That voice will not stop, because it's not there to hurt you. It's there to save you. It's there to remind you that you deserve more than a life of constant exhaustion. So if you're listening to this right now, it's not an accident. It's because something inside you is ready to face the truth. That the life you've been living is not sustainable. That the weight you've been carrying is not yours alone. That the exhaustion you feel is not weakness. It's a wake-up call. And when you answer that call, when you finally face the truth of what's been draining you, that is when the shift begins. And that shift, that turning point, is where we go next. Because once you understand the truth of your exhaustion, once you see that it is not a flaw, but a signal, then you can begin to walk a different path. A path toward rest, toward healing, toward wholeness. And in the next part, I'm going to show you what that path looks like, step by step. But for now, hold on to this. The exhaustion you feel is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your awakening.
Awareness without action changes nothing. You can know you're exhausted, you can understand that you've been carrying too much, but until you make a choice, until you take a step, nothing will shift. And here's the thing, most people stop right here. They realize they're tired, they admit they've been overwhelmed, but then they shrug and say, that's just life, that's just how it is. And they go right back to carrying the same heavy backpack. But not you. You're here right now because something in you is ready for more. Something in you is ready to finally put down the weight. The first step is simple, but it's not easy. Permission. You must give yourself permission to rest. Not after you finish everything on your list, not when everyone else is finally okay, not when the timing is perfect. Now. Because the truth is, the list will never be done, the timing will never be perfect, and there will always be someone who needs something from you. If you wait for permission from the world, you will wait forever. The only permission that matters is the one you give yourself. Think about it. When was the last time you truly rested without guilt? When was the last time you allowed yourself to stop, to breathe, to exist without needing to produce or perform? If you can't remember, that's why you're exhausted. Because rest is not a luxury. Rest is fuel. Rest is the foundation of every meaningful thing you will ever do. And without it, no amount of willpower can save you. But here's the trap. Many of us confuse rest with escape. We think scrolling endlessly on our phones is rest. We think numbing out in front of a screen is rest. We think collapsing into bed with our minds racing is rest. But it's not. Real rest is intentional. It's active. It's the kind of stillness that refuels you instead of drains you further. Sometimes that's sleep, sometimes it's silence, sometimes it's a walk in nature, sometimes it's journaling the thoughts that are clawing at your mind. Rest is anything that brings you back to yourself. And when you rest, something powerful happens. You remember who you are without the weight. You remember that you are not just a machine built to produce, not just a problem solver for everyone else's chaos, not just a checklist in human form. You are a soul. You are alive. You are allowed to just be. And in that being, your strength begins to return. But rest alone is not enough, because the truth is, if you rest today, but tomorrow you go back to carrying the same unnecessary stones, the cycle repeats. That's why the next step is boundaries. This word scares people because they think boundaries mean pushing people away, being selfish, or losing relationships. But boundaries are not walls. Boundaries are doors. They allow you to decide what comes in and what stays out. And without them, you are an open field, trampled by every demand, every expectation, every voice that is louder than your own. So ask yourself, what weight am I carrying that doesn't belong to me? Whose approval am I still chasing? Whose disappointment am I still afraid of? What expectations am I still trying to meet that don't align with my soul? Every honest answer to these questions is a stone you can choose to set down. You don't have to do it all at once. Start small. Maybe it's saying no to one request this week. Maybe it's leaving one message unanswered until you have the energy to respond. Maybe it's carving out 1 hour that belongs to you and only you. And when guilt rises up, because it will, remind yourself, every no to others is a yes to your healing. Every time you protect your energy, you are proving to yourself that your life matters. And here's what happens when you begin to rest and set boundaries. The fog starts to lift. Your mind clears. Your heart softens. Your energy, slowly but surely, begins to return. And with that energy comes something you may have forgotten: hope. You begin to see possibility again. You begin to imagine a life that isn't just survival, but joy. And that is the moment you realize exhaustion was never the end. It was always an invitation. An invitation to rebuild. An invitation to reconnect with what matters. An invitation to rediscover yourself. And that's the third step, alignment. Because once you've cleared space by resting and setting boundaries, you now have room to ask a bigger question. What do I actually want? Not what others want from me, not what I think I should want, but what does my soul truly long for? This is where the shift becomes life-changing, because exhaustion often comes from living a life that doesn't fit you, from chasing goals that aren't yours, from saying yes to paths that drain you. But when you begin to live in alignment, when your daily choices reflect your deepest values, exhaustion loses its grip. Of course, life will still demand energy. Of course, there will still be hard days. But the difference is this: when you are aligned, what you give also gives back to you. Your effort fuels you instead of empties you. Your work nourishes you instead of depletes you. Imagine waking up in the morning not with dread, but with a quiet sense of purpose. Imagine walking through your day not dragging yourself, but feeling that what you do matters, that it reflects who you are. That is the power of alignment. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's built choice by choice, day by day. But it begins with that one question: what do I want? And maybe you don't know the full answer yet. That's okay. Start small. What lights you up, even just a little? What activities make you lose track of time? What conversations make you feel alive? Follow those clues. They are whispers from your soul pointing you toward alignment. And every time you follow them, you step further away from exhaustion and closer to fulfillment. So let's bring it all together. You are not broken. You are exhausted. And exhaustion is cured not by pushing harder, but by resting deeper. Not by pleasing everyone else, but by setting boundaries that honor your soul. Not by living a life of endless shoulds, but by aligning with what truly matters to you. This is the shift, from survival to renewal, from carrying weight to letting it go, from exhaustion to alignment. And once you taste it, once you feel the difference between living drained and living alive, you will never want to go back. But there's one more piece, one more truth we need to face before this story is complete. Because even when you rest, even when you set boundaries, even when you begin to align your life, there will be days when exhaustion tries to creep back in. There will be storms, setbacks, moments when the weight feels heavy again. And in those moments, you'll be tempted to believe the old lie. See, I'm broken after all. But that's not the truth. And in the next part, I will show you how to anchor yourself so deeply that even when exhaustion knocks at your door, it cannot define you anymore. Because freedom from exhaustion is not about never feeling tired again. It's about knowing who you are beyond the tiredness. And that is where true strength is born.
You've made it this far, and that means something. It means you're not just watching this for entertainment. It means you're searching. It means your soul has been whispering for a long time that there's another way to live, and you finally paused long enough to listen. That whisper inside of you, that longing for peace, for lightness, for rest that feels real, it's not a fantasy. It's not some distant dream only reserved for the lucky few. It's proof that you are still alive, still reaching, still capable of rebuilding a life where exhaustion isn't the only language you speak. But let's be honest. Change doesn't happen because we want it. Change happens because we decide. And right now, I need you to face a truth. No one is coming to rescue you. That might sting. You may have spent years waiting for someone else to see your pain, to understand it, to step in and carry it for you. But this isn't a movie. There's no hero showing up in the last 10 minutes. The hero is already here. It's you. You've been waiting for your own permission to start. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to be fixed because you were never broken. What you need is to restore, to realign, to reintroduce yourself to the life your exhaustion buried under layers of survival. Think of it this way. If your phone dies, you don't throw it away and declare it useless. You plug it in. You recharge it. You give it what it needs to function again. That's you. That's your body. That's your mind. You are not broken. You are a device that's been drained, begging for power, and the power source has been here all along. Let me tell you something the world rarely admits. Exhaustion doesn't just come from doing too much. Sometimes exhaustion comes from doing too little of what lights you up. You've been carrying burdens, yes, but maybe you've also been starving yourself of joy. When was the last time you laughed so hard your stomach hurt? When was the last time you felt proud of something you created, not because it was perfect, but because it was yours? When was the last time you danced, sang, or moved in a way that reminded you you're alive? Sometimes the cure for exhaustion isn't just sleep, it's permission to be human again. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds nice, but my problems are real. I can't just laugh or play my way out of this. And you're right. Life is heavy. Bills don't vanish. Responsibilities don't pause. Pain doesn't disappear because we smiled for 5 minutes. But what I'm telling you is this. Joy is not a luxury. It's fuel. Without it, everything feels heavier than it should. With it, even the hardest battles feel a little lighter. Exhaustion shrinks when we feed ourselves moments of meaning. And that's the shift I want you to walk away with today. Stop believing that rest is selfish. Stop believing that joy is optional. Stop believing that your only value comes from what you produce, achieve, or sacrifice. You are not a machine. You are not a checklist. You are not the roles people assign to you. You are a living, breathing soul who is worthy of being cared for, even if you're the only one who gives yourself that care. So where do you begin? Not with giant leaps, not with overnight transformations. You begin with the smallest choices that whisper to your exhaustion, I see you. I hear you. I'm not abandoning you anymore. Maybe it means stepping outside for 5 minutes of fresh air before you scroll through your phone. Maybe it means drinking a glass of water instead of your third coffee when you feel the slump. Maybe it means saying no when every part of you wants to say yes to avoid disappointing someone. Maybe it means going to bed an hour earlier, not because everything is done, but because you matter more than everything being done. And here's what I know. You'll resist. Your mind will argue. It will tell you you don't have time. It will tell you you're being lazy. It will tell you everyone else can keep going without needing breaks, so why can't you? That's not truth. That's conditioning. That's the voice of a culture that profits when you're tired, when you're obedient, when you confuse burnout with success. But you don't have to obey that voice anymore. You get to write a new one. Imagine your future self. Imagine the version of you 6 months from now, 1 year from now, 5 years from now. What would they thank you for starting today? What tiny shift would change the course of their life? Would they thank you for finally drinking more water? For finally cutting down the hours you gave away to work that didn't fulfill you? For finally admitting you were tired and choosing rest instead of pushing harder? For finally seeing a therapist, or journaling, or sitting in silence long enough to actually hear your own thoughts? That future you is waiting. They are stronger, calmer, more alive. But they only exist if today's you decides exhaustion isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning. And maybe you don't believe that yet. That's okay. You don't have to believe it all at once. Healing isn't about believing perfectly. It's about experimenting with hope. It's about trying small things even when your doubt screams louder. It's about taking the first step not because you're sure you'll succeed, but because you're tired of being stuck. Right now, I want you to take a deep breath with me. Inhale slowly. Hold it. Let it out. Feel that? That's proof. Proof you're here. Proof your body hasn't given up on you. Proof you can still slow down the storm inside you with one conscious act. Exhaustion doesn't erase your power. It simply hides it. But every breath, every pause, every tiny choice to honor yourself is a reminder your power is still here. So the next time you wake up tired, the next time you feel that wave of heaviness crash over you, I want you to remember these words. You are not broken. You are exhausted. And exhaustion is not permanent. It's not your identity. It's not your destiny. It's an alarm. And now you've heard it. Now you can respond. Let today be the day you stop punishing yourself for being human. Let today be the day you stop wearing exhaustion as a badge of honor. Let today be the day you choose to see rest not as weakness, but as wisdom. Because when you recharge, when you restore, when you reclaim joy, you don't just survive. You begin to live. And that's what you deserve. Not a half-life, not a tired existence, not a constant fight to make it through another day. You deserve wholeness. You deserve lightness. You deserve mornings that don't feel like battles and nights that actually bring peace. You deserve to feel alive again. And it begins right here, right now, with you.